Okay, we are live. Hold on. Now, let's see here. It's almost 6 o'clock in the morning here in Norway, and it will be exciting to see if people are joining. That's wonderful. Um, Going to give it just a few seconds so that people can join the chat. And then we're going to get into the topics for today's live stream. There is a poll actually there as well uh, that you have the option of answering, and we'll check after a few minutes to see the results. I've never done that before, so hopefully I won't mess that up. Okay, so we have Leon D. Byers, Brian, Canadian Spider-Man, Night Scream, Kylie, Matthias. Good to see you. I promised you I would do a live stream about 5, so I'm a bit delayed. Curtis, B. Carpenter, Game SMR. Wonderful. Okay, so you'll always get my unfiltered, honest opinion here on my channels, and some people they don't like that so much, and but that's how it is. You can't please everyone, can you? um, so I'll just do as I like. That's that's my number one approach to life, you could say. Um, Now I've talked about this a little bit before, um, and somewhat I do feel guilty myself because in retrospect, I retrospective looking at things, retrospectively looking at things. Um, some of my thumbnails, not many, but I think they could have been more. I should maybe not made them as clickable, you could say, but I wanted to make them clickable. But there's a fine line between doing that and being a clickbaiter. So thanks a lot, Canadian Spider-Man. So lately, I am seeing that fellow YouTubers and some of them, not all of them, but some of them are in the, at least they say they are preppers. They have gone full on 100% clickbait, and it's shameful if you ask me. I won't mention names, and their content may be at times good, but it seems like they have gone. They will make the title and the thumbnail that gives them the most clicks. And if you ask me, it's not okay. It's not okay. I'm now going to get into that. Okay. So I'm going to read to you. Let's see here. Yeah. I am now going to read to you some information from my YouTube statistics. And please keep in mind, this is just an intro to. Now, this is not a video about me complaining about YouTube, not at all. But this is an intro. We need to know this to understand what's going on. And I think it puts things into perspective if I read to you some of the statistics that YouTube is giving me. Now on this channel and my main channel, okay, I have information about the most viewed let's see, 10 or 12 videos during the last 7 days. And I'll read the titles. I won't read the names of the channels, but I will read the titles. You will quickly see that there's a pattern here. Okay. So this is not necessarily you guys, it is the target audience as YouTube is defining it. The most viewed videos by my target audience during the last 7 days. Okay, let's start. Coercion is coming down the line for us all. It's official, they lied. Things are falling apart very quickly. This is a effing joke. Urgent warning to my viewers, do this immediately. I think that's my favorite. Frightening insight. Biden unleashes a nonsensical yada yada yada. Yikes, hyperinflation and World War III. People will get wiped out. Excess death, the data. Alex Jones just exposed the truth about Trump and vax, so on and so on. Hang on, it was only tested on what? Joe Rogan, Biden's propagandist pales in comparison to Trump's or something like that. This is an attack on our autonomy. Thought the pandemic was bad. This is what's coming. Pope removes all funds to Vatican Bank. That was the main channel. Target audience to the main channel. Those were the most viewed videos during the last 7 days. Pretty much the same on this channel, actually. Coercion is coming down the line for us all. It's official, they lied. Responding to silly comments. That's mine. A bit of fun for you. That's mine because you guys are also watching my main channel. Urgent warning to my viewers. Do this immediately. This is an effing joke. Hyperinflation, World War III. Pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Okay. So here's the thing. Or rather, I would like to ask you guys, can you see a pattern there? Because if you ask me if someone has a title like that, I won't click on that thumbnail. I won't watch that video. I am not interested, and I'm going to say something that might appear a little bit elitist. I am not interesting. I am, yeah, that's the thing with the live streams. I'm not interesting. Well, maybe some would say I'm not interesting, but that's okay. No, I am not. I am not interested. I'm not interested in watching political political analysis done by someone with no education, someone who has probably not traveled outside of his country ever. No, I'm not interested in that. Not interested at all. I have found, as I have lived a life of studying and traveling, that the truth is, it's about shades of gray. It's very, very rarely black and white. Sometimes there is a black and white situation. Um, and I don't think this is good. I don't think this is good. Matthias, it is too much doom and gloom. Absolutely. At the same time, we need to be able to talk about the doom and gloom stuff, but it's like it becomes an addiction. And now it this doesn't affect me on a personal level, of course not, but it does affect my appearance here on YouTube. It kills off the views because there's a competition going on here, um, and the competition. I mean, there's a reason why these people and these channels here are quite large. The channels with using these thumbnails, and there's a reason why they have gotten that large. If you look at the content, it's not really that brilliant, if you ask me. It's much of the same every time. KP Heathen, thanks a lot. Yeah, a thumbs up will be appreciated, absolutely. So it becomes an addiction, and I think that's what's going on, and these people are feeding that addiction. Now, you could look at this on a hormonal level, actually, and I believe that, well, I'm sure you heard that social media is not so much YouTube, actually, but Facebook is often used as an example how it's designed to feed that dopamine addiction. And I think much the same is going on when people they get, we're all a little bit upset, and things are hard, and we feel that life is unfair and all that. And then you have someone saying basically in every video that it's not your fault, it's them. They are doing this. Them, they. And by the way, there is no them, there is no they. It's not like a one single group of people. We're talking about several different systems populated by much the same people, but not always the same. So, for instance, everyone is talking about the World Economic Forum, and we should. It's not good. What about Bilderberg Group? What about those? Are people even aware of what they're doing? It's not so. It's not so easy, because those meetings are closed. No press allowed. So let's see here. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any moderators here? Let's see here. Thanks a lot. Horgard, thanks a lot. I'll do my best. So I'm just looking. Sorry about this, but okay. I think we don't have trolls here. Sometimes we get them here. So it becomes an addiction, and it's ethically unsound as a YouTube creator to feed that addiction because it doesn't provide solutions. It provides only it feeds that addiction. It's not good. It's not ethical. So what can we do? Well, we can look at solutions and we can look at helping people. Now, when that help involves us taking responsibility, what I have this for ourselves, I have discovered that people don't want to hear that. The videos that I have done where I talk about taking responsibility, not blaming everyone, but instead taking responsibility for yourself. They are the most unliked or disliked videos I have. And Dyson Death Metal, thanks a lot. That's extremely kind of you. And I'm very glad that you enjoy this channel, and thank you for buying the shirt. um, so let's see here. Yeah, okay. So we shouldn't click on those thumbnails, and we should actually. Here's what I think we all should do. We should ignore those channels. And I can tell you this as a YouTube creator, they are not good for you. They're not good for me, they're not good for you, they're not good for anyone. The only thing those channels are good for is, what's the expression, lining the pockets of the YouTube creator himself or herself. So that's my opinion on that. Now, I'll just check here. So 70% of you so far, let's see here, have said that, because I asked in the poll here, have preppers become Fearp0rn clickbaiters? 70% says yes. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'll just get my notes here. Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is basically, well, the two second parts of my title, ignorance and stupid kills the prepper. I could have said stupid kills, period. And and here's the thing, and I've said this before, and I know it's not a popular opinion to have, but this is what I think. We should be students. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about going to university. I'm talking about reading. I'm talking about educating yourself. I think it's an obligation for any man, any woman, to be that, to educate yourself, and we should never stop doing that. It's very easy to jump to conclusions when you do not have all the information. And I know these preppers, well, not all of these channels that had those thumbnail titles or those video titles are preppers actually, but well, about half of them. The other ones are just into clickbaiting. But yeah, lost my train of thought there a little bit. But yeah, we should not be ignorant. Yeah, what I was going to say is that it is obvious that they don't have all the information, and they don't have information enough to have such strong opinions on the subject, if you ask me. So, what happens when you get more educated, when you start understanding a topic better, is that you will see things that will put it into perspective. It's not so easy, you know, to be that student, the one who picks up a book instead of being on Facebook all evening and so on. It's not so easy, um, but it's worth it. Now, I just finished my novel. It's my 21st novel, and when I do that, I go into a period of reading and studying, and that's necessary if you're an author, of course. But we should all do that, you know. And um, what happens when you study? What happens when you invest time in understanding something is typically that you will not be that guy who makes videos with sensationalist thumbnails. Because one, you will see that this is probably not dramatic in the way that most people think. It might be dramatic and it might be even more scary and dramatic than people think, but in a different way. Because you start seeing the consequences of what's going on here. And some people also here on YouTube, they are seeing that, but most of them, no. They're talking about food shortage, but they can't see that what we're moving towards now is actually feudalism. It won't be the same as in the medieval ages, but it's going to be that same system. The principles will be applied actually, but different. You can only see that if you know a little bit about history. I disagree a little bit. I don't think we're moving towards fascism, but I think we're moving towards feudalism. So we should be students. We should educate ourselves. By doing that, we can easier look through the stupidity on display by politicians, by mainstream media, because mainstream media is no better, well, usually no better than these YouTube channels I just didn't mention, but the titles that I read to you. And I'll say one thing about politicians. Politicians are not in the positions that they have. They've not gotten to the positions they have because of their skills and their, well, you could call it skills, I guess. But what I'm trying to say is I believe it's a popularity contest. And I had a brief, I was briefly involved in local politics here. I was kind of talked into being on a list for the local election here, which was kind of scary because they told me I was almost elected into the local government here. Luckily, I was not. But I got to see how it's a popularity contest. Now, if you look at, and I'll use an obvious example, if you look at someone like Joe Biden, now I understand that it's not him figuring out what to say. He has teleprompters and so on. But yeah, and Trudeau, another good example. I don't think I've heard them say anything correct ever. Well, maybe they have, but most of what they're saying is either just pure hate speech or it's ignorance on display. Now, you could say a lot about Trump, you know. And I know as a European, I'm supposed to hate Trump. I don't. I'm not a big fan. I think he was the right president for the USA, and given the alternatives, and this is also almost illegal to say here in Europe, but I would never have voted for Hillary, and I would never have voted for Biden. But the thing with Trump was that he had his mannerisms that I don't like so much, and well, he has his mannerisms and his what looks to be borderline narcissist personality. But anyway, um, he was correct in a lot of things he said, and he actually knew what he was talking about most of the time, I would say. Or he would say things about the climate and things about nature that was just embarrassingly incorrect. But when he was talking about international politics, international economics, and national economics, you could tell that he's not a fool, as some people like to think. He's not a fool. It's like you might dislike him, but you can't discredit him from what he's done, what he has achieved. And it's not like intelligent people are always likable. In fact, I would say intelligent people are somewhat you what's the expression, takes an acquired um no, it's it, they are not always that likable. Okay, yeah, he did start Operation Warp Speed. I think actually that was a part of his downfall, and I think that he would have been in, well, I don't know this, but I think maybe he would have been in office now if he hadn't gone through with that, you know? But anyway, um, so yeah, and the mean tweets, they were often fun. um, so we need to educate ourselves and we need to remain students. And this is so important. I'm There is a YouTuber who I like a lot, but he's gotten down, he's going down this spiral now, where he refuses to keep an eye on the news, and he gets all his information. He calls it intel through yeah, other sources. Let's just say other sources, and I think you need a balance there, and at the end of the day, well, you could end up in fantasy land if you what's the word, you disattach or something like that from the society completely. But anyway, yeah, when Lagos as successful people tend to be disagreeable. Very often they are. Um, so let's see here. Yeah, it's nice if you hit the like. Absolutely. So if you haven't ever traveled outside of your country or to another continent, if you haven't read a book in, and I'm not counting the Bible in here. Oops, said a bad word there, but um, if you haven't read a book in 5 years, let's say, uh, you should probably be a little bit humble well, you should study. You should start getting into that lifestyle, and don't trust the doomsayers here on YouTube. So let's see here. Okay. Yeah, please keep the language clean here. That's I don't know if we're getting trolls here, are we? Sorry about that. Okay. So I'm going to get to the questions now. Oh, okay. I clicked on the wrong one. I always do that, but Genevieve, that's awesome. Just started a book on Åsatru. That's wonderful. But this question here, what brand of carving knives do you use for your kuksa? Well, I use Mora and what's the other one? Beaver something. I have linked to those in the video description here, or the description to this live stream. You will find a few items, some of my gear, and also a link to my full list of gear. Redneck Heathen says, I've never been out to the USA. Well, that's I'm not trying to talk you down because of that. I realize that we have been, especially if you're young, it's been difficult to travel, and also it's not cheap, So I'm not trying to talk you down here. I'm just saying that, well, I'll use myself as an example. I've never been to Africa. I have just sailed past the northern tip. I've never been to Africa. So I'm trying to stay humble when it comes to information, when it comes to my knowledge about Africa. It's probably a continent that I know very, very little about. And people from Africa, they have told me that what you're seeing on TV, basically mainstream media telling the story that, well, Africans, they are all poor and they are starving, and that's all. It's not like that. It's a multitude of very different cultures, very different ethnic groups. Some of the African countries are highly civilized, some are not at all. So, I'm just saying we should stay humble and try to educate ourselves. And traveling is always good, although it is difficult now because of the Billy Boys mystery juice. Jeff has traveled to a lot of countries. That's awesome. Things that inspire me says travel is a luxury. Yes, I understand, but also I would say no. I think it's a necessity. Let's see. Canadian Spider-Man says travel now is harder than ever. Yes, absolutely. Travel is everything as far as education goes. Loved spots on 6 continents and met many great people. No, I haven't sailed around Rocky Mountain Bear. I haven't sailed around Africa. I sailed out through the Gibraltar Strait there, around the northern tip there. So no, I haven't sailed around Africa. Um, so um, yes, Joe says something very important here. Says, I agree, travel is both a luxury but also a necessity. You should strive to at least travel to several different countries to expose yourself to the world. Yeah. Jeff says, I would love to go to Africa. Would be an interesting place to see, especially away from the typical tourist areas. Yes, and I would say something here that I know Matthias Treeman has talked a lot about. I love different cultures. I find it extremely fascinating to see how people live. And I'm talking about searching for the original cultures. And that will all very often mean the pre Christian roots to that culture. Um, because that's the pure essence of the people, you know. Um, okay. Was Biden's speech fair? P0rn technically. Certainly, the parts that I have seen, they were, I would say, divisive and unethical. But I haven't seen the whole speech, so that could have been benefit of the doubt and all that could have been taken out of context. I highly doubt it, but I would rather watch the whole speech before I make my opinion on that. Okay. Um, this is an interesting question. Is a global awareness really necessary? I'm more interested in our local history and the nature around us. I would say both. I would say you get a much richer and exciting life if you travel and experience other cultures. And I'm not saying that you should accept everything when you travel. And some people they do that. They see horrible things and they say, well, it's their culture. Yeah, that might be, but if it's evil, it's evil, you know. And I when I went to India, um, what I saw there was some of that was I will say this: not all cultures are equally great. You know, some cultures are not that great actually. Okay. Um, let's see. I'll try to find a question here. Oh, Christopher, thanks a lot. My beard is getting thick. I would want it to be thicker actually, but it's a light that makes it. So, um, yeah, some cultures are better than others. Uh, it's just a fact. And people who say no, that's you can't say that. They haven't traveled. They have not traveled to poor parts of the world. And some might say, well, it's because they are poor. No, I would say it's a different way. It's the other way around. Some cultures are making people poor. And the caste system in India, for instance, is an example of that. Um, so, Redneck Eden says, Bjorn, could you talk about pagan cultures having a duty to revenge? I can. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but what kind of duty? I will try to reply, but I don't understand what you mean by a duty to revenge. Revenge what exactly? And so if you could just say a few more words about that, that would be great. Redneck Heathen, I'll keep a lookout here. Okay, for your reply. And while I do that, let me just now I'll complain a little bit. Okay, so my video on the main channel yesterday, I feel that was a good video, and I was very pleased with the footage. It is also the least watched video out of my 10 latest videos. So that is disappointing. But I'm trying to move more towards bushcraft and Viking content and so on. And maybe it confuses the algorithm. I don't know. My life will not be controlled by the YouTube algorithm. Even saying it makes me feel, no, that's not going to happen. That's not what no, I'll do as I like. Thank you very much. So, okay, thanks a lot, Wolf, for Odin, that you liked the video. And thank you. Fishing for compliments here, but sincerely, thank you a lot. So, okay, I heard you say one time that forgiveness is not a heathen concept. I've said that it's not a Norse heathen concept, and it isn't. It meant nothing to them. You had greed, which would be a legal, that you would not be punished by the legal system. Okay, so you could be given greed, but no, not forgiveness in the Christian way. That doesn't mean that we should revenge past wrongs done to heathen or pagan people. I think it's been a long time, so maybe we should try to move forwards. We don't have to forgive. We shouldn't actually, but we should move forward. Thanks a lot, Redneck Heathen. That's wonderful. Now, in the Norse heathen concept here, if we're talking about that, certainly a duty to revenge, but we're not living in those times anymore. So I think following those ethics would put you in jail today. Now, it's not eye for an eye. That's a Christian concept. It's different, but I won't get into that. It's a bit difficult to explain, actually. Let's see here. Yeah, Wolf of Odin. I know what you mean, but you know this. I know that you know this. It's but let's keep that for another live stream. It's an interesting topic to discuss. Julia says, I came here tonight to tell you, to warn you, because it's going to happen. That's yeah, that's funny. So let's keep the Christian stuff out of things. Can we please? It tends to ruin the whole live stream, and I will be kicking people off the chat if they start the Christian thing. We have had a problem with that before, and this is not the place for that. Oh, yes. Christopher, Christophersaurus Dinosaurus says, Doomsday is tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then the next day. Yeah, that's funny. Genevieve, thanks a lot for the donation. Thanks a lot. Okay. Okay, so what's a heathen? What's a pagan? And Laura is asking, is Celtic paganism like a heathen, Bjorn? I would say that if you're a pagan, you are also a heathen. Not all heathens are pagans, though, because and this is my personal definition of this. Okay, we haven't. I don't think we have decided on a set definition on these words here, but both these words were used by other people about the cultures that they met. So I could say I could use a word like åsatru or åsatruer. It doesn't mean anything, and you wouldn't even see it here on YouTube because YouTube would bury that because they don't recognize the term. But a heathen is, to me, it comes from the word hede, connected to the land. A pagan is like non-Christian religious groups, if you will, and those two things are a little bit different. But if you're a pagan, you should be connected to the land, or else you're doing it wrong. But most pagans are absolutely very connected to nature, very connected to the land. Matthias says, pagan, heathen, the old ways, ancestral beliefs. Yeah, we can talk about these terms, and they all come into this thing that being heathen or pagan, what it means, And I think we shouldn't try to define it too much, because one of the best parts of heathenism or paganism is actually that it's not that dogmatic. If we look back in history, we all know that Christian people, they have gone to war against each other, claiming that the enemy was not doing it right. That was not the one main reason for going to war, but they could blame it on that, So let's see here. This is a funny one. Julia, and I have to say this: are you are you looking for men with long hair? But I support that. Julia says having a really hard time finding men with long hair these days. Like, what's going on? Now I don't know how old you are, but what I've seen is that as men get older, they tend to lose their hair. I'm lucky because I haven't lost any hair. But if you're like in your 40s and you have a big bald patch here, most men will prefer to have very short hair. It kind of, most people think it looks better. Otherwise, it like my mother used to say, men with only hair and a big beard, and they let this part grow out a little bit. It looks like they grew through their hair, so the hair stayed at one place and they grew up through the hair. um, and Andrew says, I feel like I see more men with long hair these days. Okay. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe let me think now about Norway. I don't see that many people with long hair in Norway, but and another thing I have noticed is that the beard thing has gone away. So the beard thing has gone away. That's a big shame, if you ask me. But the good part is that we all know it's a rule that when you're out driving your car, the guy with the longest beard has right of way. That's the rule I always use when I'm driving. Sometimes it's difficult to see the other person driving, and it's a bit sexist, some would say, towards women. But no, that this is just a joke. It's a bit of joke. It's a joke. Yeah. Um, yeah, my parents are still alive. And no, they won't come off grid with me. They are very much living their life, their own life. So, yeah. So, Joe says having short hair makes me feel like a work slave. I mean, well, that's interesting. There's long hair is typically associated with being a little bit rebellious and not non-conforming. Um, let's see. Scandinavian humor is so dry. Well, it can be. John is asking, do you put food in buckets or do you mostly just take in canned items? Well, we do both. Um, and it's, I always say you should buy stuff that you're going to use anyway, or else it could end up as a waste of money. So, oh, wow. Han is saying, agreed, I'm a woman with long hair, and the feminist told me I only have long hair to live up to gender ideals. Wow. That's just very sad. I think a woman with long hair is beautiful. It's like extremely feminine. Um, maybe that's why that feminist said that. So yeah, a lot of Guys love women with long hair, as Wolf of Odin says here. And Prepped Chick in Texas says, I love long hair and beards on men. Very attractive. So, yeah, I think that was to the Laura says hateful comment in my opinion, aimed at that feminist. Jeff is being a dirty old man here. I'm not going to pin that comment, but well, okay. So yeah, it's I guess it's about personal preference. I I think it's uncommon to have long hair when you're in your 50s. I'm in my 50s now. I can't believe it. It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah. But anyway, at least it feels good to have long hair. So oh, okay. Wolf of Odin is saying, what beard oils do you use? I can't remember the brand, but I don't use them often because the brand I have now makes it's a bit itchy, you know. So yeah, I'll try to find another brand. So time flies, says Laura. That's certainly the case. Actually, having long hair and especially a larger beard is at this time of the year in here in Norway, well, in other countries as well, it's problematic because we have the deer flies. Directly translated, the deer loves flies, and they love to land on my person, tear off their wings, and crawl into my beard. And it's horrible. It's horrible. I don't know why, but they like me, and my wife and I we can when we walk the dogs, they don't land on her, they only land on me. So that's horrible. I'm Redneck Heathen. I'm pinning that comment because that was. I like a compliment now and then. You're saying that I probably. I'll read it. Bjorn, you probably still deadlift more than me, and you have deep wisdom. You don't look 50 at all. Well, thanks a lot for that. Thanks a lot. My deadlift is not where it should have been, but let's see. I'll try to, since most of you guys are. No, I really. Let's see. I have my program now is 250 kilos in 8 weeks. That's the target. So it's not where it used to be. So, but I can't go to a meet without lifting at least 250 kilos in the deadlift. That would be embarrassing. So yeah, but anyway, Let's see here. Okay. Yes, that's why I wear the head netting. And I have a jacket, netting jacket as well, actually, for when it's warmer. Yeah, they are terrible. But I've seen hardly any mosquitoes this year, so that's a bit odd. It's 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 not as well. It's drier this year um, than it used to be. So let's see here. Redneck Eden says I deadlift 525. That's awesome. And here's another one. Do you eat liver? I don't like liver so much, but it's very nutritious. Um, okay, I'll just scroll down here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And also, yes, the ticks. Now, they come in the spring and fall when it rains. We have them all the time. So, what I have done concerning the ticks, I'll end the live stream soon, but I'll just share that with you because it's something that helped us and it could be useful for you as well. There's a Thermacell. Thermacell. That's the brand. I don't know if you can get them in overseas, but you buy a box of little cotton pads. Now they have this anti-tick stuff in them. So you put those cotton pads around your property. Don't put it anywhere where your pets can get to it. Okay. What we did that helped a lot. I I climbed up a tree and I put a squirrel box there, like a bird, like almost like a bird house, bird box. Um, and the squirrels go in and they sleep there. And I put a lot of those pads on the bottom of that box, so they will sleep on those, and it helps the squirrels as well because they are full of ticks. So the ticks will be killed on the rodents because that's where they get to um, your property by being on the rodents. I hope I pronounced that correctly. After we did that, we we haven't had that many ticks on our property here. But out in the woods, it's horrible, um, and it should be taken seriously. And that's why during summer, I use my tall rubber boots because the ticks can't climb up there, and I can normally avoid moving through branches and stuff with my upper body, you know. Okay. Yeah. It was good to have you here in the chat, Matthias. And we'll talk later. Night Scream is asking, have you thought about making videos about how to help people get more healthy? I have thought about it, absolutely. Now, I am a personal trainer after all. I don't work as a personal trainer, but I do have the education now. But that would mean yet another channel, and I think that you get a lot of trolls and haters with content like that. And I see that on YouTube, the dominating channels in that niche, they are typically the YouTube creator. There will be a guy on steroids, just saying it as it is. And when you have people like that, you can't really trust them on anything because they would have progress anyway, and they can eat differently as well. Um, in some countries, like the USA, people are more liberal towards that, but I would never be. I will never be liberal towards that. So, and that's not, again, it's not a popular opinion to have. Um, and the truth is that it takes a lot of time to have progress. It takes a lot of time and discipline, and a different way of eating. And you won't get a bodybuilder physique, or not even those rubbish calisthenics fake physiques in a year. It takes a long time. And I think that's not a popular opinion to have, so I'd rather not. Yeah, I have thought about that. You could make a parody video about the Fearp0rn type of video. Yeah. Um, I'm that might happen. Yeah, you can see it. I was at the national team in the national powerlifting team, and we all know how to spot these guys. You see it on the traps because I know the strongest individuals, the strongest natural individuals in Norway, people who are immensely strong, and they don't look like that. None of them look like that. Why? Because the human body doesn't look like that. So a guy who built his strength the natural way, he doesn't look like those people in those videos. If you're super strong, first of all, you're not ripped. Because building strength, to do that, you need to have calorie surplus. Okay, you can't build strength without having calorie surplus. So it's very difficult to be super strong and ripped. Those two things go against each other. So you see it on the traps typically. You see it on if you have a guy with a narrow waist and big biceps, that's not. Well, you have some people who are genetically like that, but it's very rare. It's very rare. Um, that's another sign, and you can see it on the hands actually. Now, if you look at the human hand, it will naturally have muscles in the useful places, right? Um, and if you look closely at the hands of if you look at people like Joe Rogan, who ruined his hormonal balance by taking drugs that are illegal in Norway. So he has supplements that, as they call it, it's testosterone, right? And those people will have muscles on the upside here, not on this side of the hand. It's not natural. So again, especially if you have a lot of people from North America, they will just hate you for saying these things, and I'm sure I'll get hate for this that I just said now as well. But I won't be one of those guys. You see what they're doing? They're presenting their fake physique with muscles that they bought, and they're selling some stuff. That's what they're doing, and I'm not interested in that. Yeah. So GB is asking, saying, I never did strength training, and I heard as women get older, that's what you're supposed to do. Yes, absolutely. I think you don't really have a choice. This goes for men as well, especially as you're aging. There really isn't a way around strength training if you want to stay healthy. We don't live as hunter-gatherers anymore, and we need to use our muscles to stay healthy and strong, and to avoid osteoporosis. Osteoporosis, is that what you call it in English? Yeah. One, I want to. I want to say one thing about the steroid thing. It's something that is used to treat people. So I'm not saying that, well, it's all bad. Well, it's it's a doctors use it to treat people. So I'm not. It's don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that if you know what I mean. Okay. For instance, some old people, they get it, and there is this discussion, I think, going on whether it's beneficial or not when you look at the total picture. And people get it sometimes, I think, after cancer treatment. So you know what I'm talking about here. You know which guys I'm talking about. So I just wanted to add that. But it should always be administered by a special kind of doctor, who specializes in hormone stuff. Yeah. So, not talking about those guys. Maybe some of you do get that kind of medication, but I hope none of you is, the typical gym rat taking. Yeah, let's just leave that. I think that if anyone misunderstand what I'm saying here, they do that on purpose. Okay. And also, let me add that when it comes to the hormone levels, the testosterone level sinking as you get older, in men especially, because women have some as well, but very often that's because of an unhealthy lifestyle. So you should always try to change your lifestyle and eat healthier first. Okay. And I believe in most cases that will be more than enough. And being natural is healthier than having to substitute with these things. Okay. So yeah, women doing strength training. Some women are afraid that they will get bulky and look like a man. That's not going to happen. No. that's not how it works. Women who train a lot, they get a athletic feminine physique, and that goes for women who train for maximum strength as well. So the female powerlifters that I know, they're all very feminine in their physical appearance. I'll stop right there. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. I think the term here, Laura, is athletic feminine. And I don't want to get too personal here, but myself, men have different preferences, I guess, but the athletic feminine type is, it's I'm not against that. Yeah, okay. So Mr. Sorpos is here. Just waking up, I guess. I'm almost finished now. So yeah, maybe that's what I meant. Yeah, women who do weight training, they don't look masculine. That's not. They look feminine. But I think actually, and this is very sad. It's a very sad thing actually. I have been told that it has become more normal for women to use steroids, and then they will obviously become more masculine. So that's just tragic. Let's see here. Yeah, Andrew says, I know several women who also want to get bulky and have been working out like MF for years. They're very toned, but nothing even close to resembling bulky. It's funny, but also a bit sad. LOL. Well, I think it's not sad. I think it's that's great. We're different, and yeah. Yeah, I do sell the type of jacket that I'm wearing now, actually, on my merch Spring store in Spring store. There's a link in the video description, and there's a glitch. YouTube made an error, and they have been making that error for weeks, and it has cost me a lot of money because some of the products you can buy in the merch store used to show up underneath the videos, but they don't anymore. So I told them that they need to fix that because people generally they don't go to the video description. So I'm hoping that it will get back. But yes, you can buy this in the merch store, linked in the video description. Yes. Joel says, I've heard that listening to Amon Amarth and Hiring naturally increases testosterone, but I can't swear to it. At least Amon Amarth, yes, it's true. And it makes you 12% stronger while lifting. Yeah, it is hard to get in touch with YouTube, but I have a guy there who is my contact person. they will assign you a contact person when your channel is big enough. Yeah, eating fatty red meat and egg blasts your testosterone higher. Yeah. So okay, is it Father's Day? No, I don't think it's Father's Day in Norway. I don't know when that is. Living in the past, yeah, that video would be great if you guys watch it. I'll put it on the end screen here. And it was a bit sad that it turned out to be the least viewed video in a long time on my main channel. But that's YouTube, you know, that's just how it is. My choice of backpacks, I really like the sea packs. So I have several sea packs. I'll link to those as well in the video description. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll just have to end the live stream now. Also, the battery on my laptop computer is running low. So thanks a lot for joining the chat and for watching. And yeah, wonderful. Have a look at the video. The living in the past video. I'll on my main channel. I'll put it on the end screen here, and as soon as possible. Okay. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.